Hey everyone, it's Vision. Extraction shooters are taking the scene and will be taking it fast. If you're not up to date, the biggest game that's making news is Bungie's upcoming game, Marathon. And definitely not in a good way. A PvP VE extraction shooter. There's a lot of talk about it, but where did the extraction shooter come from and why do people enjoy this? Let's get into it. I've been playing games for a while, specifically the realistic sim shooter genre, and I think that's where it starts. And nothing's more realistic of a sim shooter than Arma. Arma 2 specifically is a sim shooter with realistic physics, weapons, and bullet drop before bullet drop was even standard in most games. Arma 2 is about completing military scenarios. You can play multiplayer servers on which players will go to work. And of course, you can load up with your kit and just head straight into battle against actual people. But you'll actually find people clocking out of their real life jobs to clock into Arma, to fly allies to landing zones, truck drivers loading troops from their spawn, and they're just doing that for hours, and RPing the entire time. From Arma 2 spawned a mod called Daisy. Daisy did eventually get its own standalone game, but the mod itself became even more popular than Arma 2 itself. Load in, search for scarce loot, and survive from zombies, players, cold weather, hunger, and thirst. And if you die, all your progress is gone. These are the type of masochistic players that help start off the extraction shooter genre. An important person in our story is Brandon Green, also known as Player Unknown. Inspired by the Hunger Games movies, he created a mod for Daisy called Daisy Battle Royale. Like the movie, everyone starts in a circle, runs away, and the map shrinks. This eventually transformed into parachuting in, as we're all used to, and eventually into Daisy Battle Royale, which was a mod to Daisy, which was eventually built on Arma 3. So it's kind of a mod on a game. This got the attention of Sony. Brandon Green was hired as a consultant to make a game mode specifically for H1Z1 Just Survive, called H1Z1 King of the Hill, later becoming H1 Battle Royale. After his consultation work, he worked with a South Korean company, Krafton, and began work on a brand new game of his own, Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. As you know, PUBG, and the Player Unknown part is his gamer tag, so it's basically his name, Battlegrounds. This game blew up and brought the Battle Royale to more people than ever before. A few more Battle Royales later, eventually we got Fortnite, which was originally a base building zombie survival game, which is actually pretty fun when I originally played it. Nothing too special, but as you know, eventually came out with their own Battle Royale mode, and from there, you know the story of that game. It's basically just Fortnite Battle Royale. So, how does this get us to the extraction shooters? Well, you know how Battle Royale started. There's one more key item, a game called Stalker, a single-player survival horror game based on the Chernobyl exclusion zone, which caused anomalies and mutations of animals and plants around it. What's most important to us, though, is the difficulty. Inventory management, hardcore game mechanics, and weapon ammo complexity. This inspired Escape from Tarkov. So, how does DayZ and Stalker lead to extraction shooters? Well, I think that the whole user base who enjoyed the difficulty of DayZ, enjoyed looting off their enemies, and then also getting better in Battle Royale, being able to reset a lot quicker, wanted a difficult but rewarding experience that actually challenged them. Because in DayZ, if you die, it might take you a couple hours to loot up to where you're going to be, saying that you don't run into any enemies or just accidentally die because you get unlucky. With all this together, we finally get to the genre, the extraction shooter. So, what is an extraction shooter? In the simplest terms, load in, loot for your items, and extract. If you die, you lose all your items, your killer can take those items, and the goal is to get better and better loot that you can then take into the next match. So far, other than Escape from Tarkov, I don't think the genre has been cracked yet. There's been some successful attempts such as Hunt Showdown, Darker and Darker, but there have been failures that don't grab people's attentions, like Delta Force's Hawk Ops mode, or the failure of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 DMZ mode. Now, what game companies are failing to understand, and even as us players, I don't think we fully know what we want, this mode isn't as easy to replicate as Battle Royale modes due to the complexity and balancing that the extraction shooters need. As you can tell that every publisher tried to be the next Fortnite for a few years. If you played Escape from Tarkov, you know it's basically impossible to just hop in and start. There's different armors, helmets, ear protection that you can wear, and some that aren't compatible with each other. It feels like hundreds of ammo types for different weapons, even some that you can load into your magazine and rifle, but when you shoot, it'll explode and kill you if it's the wrong type. I probably spent about 30 hours in Tarkov over the years, and I purchased on the initial release and playing up until today, semi-recently. But due to the high learning curve, there's so much to learn, enough to where you can spend half your time looking at a YouTube tutorial on just how to play. And don't get me wrong, Escape from Tarkov is not a bad game, as long as you have the time to deal with cheaters and time to invest into it. It's a very complex game, and it's not easy to hop into. That's the part of the reason why people actually love the game. It's a time investment. But new games like Marathon, they aim to be an extraction shooter that's easier to get into. Life gets busy. I would like to dedicate time to learn games, but watching an hour-long video of Tarkov to then load in an attempt to retain the information that I learned and everything else that I'm learning while I'm playing, including like even the map layouts, is something I don't really have time for, especially when I want to try other games. Now, when I originally wrote this script, Marathon looked good to me. The style, the people it was made from, I was sold. And then the alpha came out, which got mixed reviews, stating it's not ready, and well, that sucks. Something Destiny fans are used to, honestly, from Bungie, but that sucks. Oh, and then it turns out that the assets were directly stolen and the developers are talking badly about their own game. And even some that are mentioning to wanting to leave as soon as it's released. And currently, as of writing this update, marketing has been altered for the game, so the game will either be postponed, or even worse, released in its current state, and basically be given the Concord treatment and just let the ship burn. Well, I want to talk about why Marathon originally looked good to me. To me, it looks attractive with its simple yet complex designs of weapons, the environment and the story behind it, or at least what I glanced at through the trailers. Now, I didn't watch every trailer and watch every frame behind it. I watched it, it looked good, I was excited, I moved on. But as you know, some art and actual assets around the map were stolen. And the original artist, Anti-Real, called it out that they made art in 2017. Now, I don't fully believe that it was done maliciously, which I know many will not agree with. Just call me a positive thinker or naive, but I think they took the art as a reference, threw it into a folder, mislabeled or didn't label what it was to begin with, and then it was used in the game and forgotten. Hundreds of people touched that, the assets, whether over the years, from internal to vendors that they hire or contractors, that I can understand that it got lost, but either way, that blunder is massive enough to I think a punishment like firing is acceptable, because when a AAA studio backed by Sony, one of the big three game companies, either they forgot that they used someone else's assets or knew and tried to ignore it because Anti-Real only has like 1.5k followers on Instagram. Even one of the main arts leads was following Anti-Real on Instagram. So this being missed is horrible to the artist. I can see why it was missed, but still no excuse. As an extraction shooter, Marathon looked to be easily digestible. I can hop on and play with some friends for a few hours a week. I get the best of a PvP and PvE with friends, and that's what's important to me. But now that the short-lived dream of playing is basically dead to me, now I'm just waiting to see what happens. In general though, the extraction shooter is the next phase of gaming. This is going to be the next Battle Royale. And just like if you compare DayZ Battle Royale to Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone, we don't know how far this genre can go or how to evolve. So I'm overall excited. Games like Arc Raiders make it look good, and I hear a lot of good things about it, at least definitely in comparison to Marathon. So I'm excited to try it out in the future when it's a beta maybe available to the public. So I'm excited for that one. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, whether you're for or against the genre or don't care about the genre. I'm actually curious, because this is probably going to be our next 5 years because Marathon has been in development for a few years already, and it's now getting here. So now that Marathon and Arc Raiders are in the main eye and people are interested in the genre, some companies are going to think, hey, I can do this, but it's probably going to take at least 3 years to get something going. So we'll have to see what happens. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.